Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girls is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Denden Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now our captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
I want to give a big bless up to the Reggae girls out there. They ain't believing us. John did. Reggae girls, keep winning, keep inspiring. I know you're going to be great out there. World Cup. Sedella Marley, number love. Bless up from DJ Khaled.
And I'm representing for the Reggae girls. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself every time. Especially if you're qualifying for the World Cup back to back. You know what I mean? Sidela, big up yourself. One love every time. You know the thing go. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. What the Reggae girls do? Left them name night earth like a queen. Me have to big up the top soccer team. You know Massacre represent. Jamaica supporting it every time. You know the thing go.
Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Shout Out the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best. Davis, take it away.
My Talawers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning. All depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. Right, guys. I promise you I will try and make this one quite short. Possibly maybe no more than 45 minutes. I don't really have much to say tonight. We are definitely into the women's international break. So I'm kind of shifting focus in terms of the typical content that I usually give to you guys, particularly on the weekend. I know on weekends we talk about club football, you know, in the men's game and also the women's game. I've decided to push that club action there, weekend of action forward. So I've decided to kind of like I've decided to like push it back a little bit, only because I feel like I have something a bit more pressing that needs to be discussed in terms of topic of conversation. So your women's weekend of action review, where we look at the games played at their respective clubs where the Reggae girls are concerned. We're going to have to look at that possibly tomorrow or latest, let's say Tuesday. I'm thinking depending on my availability schedule, I think we might have to just deal with that one tomorrow and just get it out of the way. Some taster games played over the weekend. I won't spoil it for you guys, but definitely there were some tasty clashes there, some thrillers, hat-trick in the bag. So we will definitely go ahead and talk about the weekend of action, just not on tonight's show. I do have something a little bit more pressing that needs to be discussed. I say pressing, it's probably only pressing to me. It probably only matters to me. I should hope not. Maybe it's something that you guys in the comment section haven't really given much thought to, but hopefully by the end of my live streams, I should have at least managed to change some of your opinions or maybe make you guys think differently and look at the game from a different perspectives. Okay, so Gunner's boss, good night to yourself or good evening to yourself. I hope you're in good health. I'm not sure what the first comment is about. I don't know who you're referring to, but you was on someone's show. How did it go? What is the show all about? It says, blessed Sunday night, blessings to yourself. I was tuned into They Are All Right. Who are they? Sorry if I don't know. I'm really sorry if I don't know who they are, but enlighten me. Let me know who these guys are. Night Rider, big up yourself there, Night Rider. Night Rider says that he can't believe Taylor Hines is a reggae girl. Yes, she is a reggae girl. We have a couple new recruits there where the reggae girls are concerned. As I said on last night's show, we already discussed Taylor Hines, you know, plays for Liverpool, played a pivotal role in getting the Reds into the top flight of women's football here in England, having won the Barclays Women's Championship from that, I believe was the 2021-2022 season there, bringing them back to top flight football. A couple of the other girls, they play below the second tier of women's football in respective divisions, so the North Division, the South Divisions. And as I said on last night's live stream, depending on how they do in terms of performance wise with their respective clubs, there's some opportunity there to win some promotion to the second tier of women's football in England, where the Barclays Women's Championship is concerned. We're no stranger to the Barclays Women's Championship. Actually spread across. We're everywhere, here and there, all over the gaff, all over Europe, in Asia, with Miss Vian Sampson, of course, statesides. But yes, we're going to be looking at a couple of those clubs there as it relates to the new recruits, possibly on tomorrow's live stream. Okay. So you introduced me to Miami Dolphins podcast. Kadeem shouted you out. Oh my God, why didn't you say so? I was like, who is, oh, Kadeem, you said Kareem. I was like, who is Kareem? I was like, who named Kareem? I was so confused. Yes, Go Time Dolphins. I do know Go Time Dolphins. Oh, that's so, when you said Kareem, I was like, who is Kareem? Yes, his name is Kadeem, Mr. Kadeem Simmons. Big up Kadeem Simmons and Charlie Touche, big up Charlie and Kadeem over on Go Time Dolphins. As I said, guys, if you are followers of NFL or if you want to get into NFL, then follow Go Time Dolphins. I'll say one of our own, because as I said, Mr. Kadeem Simmons there, he does, I believe, unless I am completely wrong, have Jamaican heritage, definitely Caribbean heritage. Unless I've not been paying attention, it is Jamaican heritage. So do support the lads of their channel. They do live streams quite frequently. So search for Go Time Dolphins, right? Search for Go Time Dolphins on Instagram. Actually, I don't know about their Instagram because I'm not sure if they're on Instagram, but on YouTube, they're definitely on YouTube, and they're also on X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call them. All right. So I am concerned, guys. I am so concerned about the state of women's football, and I think it is so troubling. And that is the reason why I decided to shift the focus of tonight's live stream and talk about something that I think matters more than the weekend of action where the Reggae Girls played for their respective clubs. Yes, of course, performance-wise, that does matter, but I think there's a elephant in the room, and that elephant has been present for a number of years. And I think it definitely needs to be discussed. I'm going to take as a little bit of your time. I'm not going to take much of your time. If you guys can hear my TV, let me know, and I will turn it down. I noticed on one of my live streams recently that some of the audio was being fed back to you guys, so I do apologize about that. But before I talk about the women's game and what is needed, you guys would have already or should have seen my title talking about player care officers. I do believe that we need to be looking at how we can reinforce player care officers in the women's game. I say reinforce because they do exist. It's not as if they don't exist. They do exist, but I feel like in the most part, they exist in low numbers. You're probably only privy to come across your player care officers if you play for like the elite clubs in the elite countries. So you're more economically developed countries. So let's say here in England, we definitely do have player care officers, probably not in the abundance, but they do exist both in the men's game and the women's game. But I definitely think that we need more of it. Now, before I get into all of that, let's get something else out the way where the lovely JFF are concerned. And I do have to turn my attention to the JFF unwillingly. I never really wanted to talk about the JFF for no particular reason, not a shade on their behalf, but I didn't want tonight's show to focus on them. But I think it's safe to say, you guys can correct me if I'm not telling the truth, over the last couple of days and weeks, and possibly spilling over to months and so on. I've definitely been fair with the Jamaica Football Federation. I've given them their flowers where needs be, because as I said, if we can sit here and be critical of them and sometimes be maybe a tad bit harsh, then equally we can do the same when they're doing things positive. And one of the things that I picked up on with the new Jamaica Football Federation was their approach to social media. I think they're now, over the last couple of weeks, particularly, and maybe even some months back, you've seen there's a change in trajectory when it comes to their involvement and their engagement on social media, particularly when it comes to the promotion of games, right? Heavily where it comes to the reggae boys. Now, obviously, they can't promote what's not there. So I don't want no one getting a little bit cheeky with me. They cannot promote what's not there. But what is there currently is this big clash, and I do say big clash because I mean France, the France women's national team, or just France football, needs no introduction. We know that they're one of the biggest heavyweights in the game, both on the male side of the game and also in the women's side as well. But I am disappointed. You know, I sat here for weeks on end and I gave the Jamaica Football Federation heaps of flowers because of how well they have promoted the men's game, couple of fixtures there, Nicaragua, Honduras, namely, and so on. They've definitely changed their habits and they're trying to sell the product. And I think in regards to them being trying to sell the products down, the promotion is saying the marketing is better than what it was yesterday. And I think in some sense it's paying us maybe a slight, or can't say in the masses, it's definitely playing some sort of dividends. And you only have to tune into, let's say, the Honduras game they played on home soil some days ago. Yes, it's not the capacity in turnout can't be compared to the Nicaragua turnout. I mean, the Nicaragua turnout was just unbelievable. But I think it's safe to say that the turnout that we had at the National Stadium, where the men's team is concerned, some nights ago, football being played on a Monday night, and fans showed up in their numbers. You know, we had a high-profile individuals there from the rulers of the country, opposition, and so on, and also entertainers. And I think much of that, aside from the where the government is concerned, aside from them, the entertainers showing up, and more importantly, I could say the number of fans who showed up again on a Monday night, where most of them probably were coming home from work or showed up to the game after checking out from work. Probably a couple of the kids there finished school and made their way to the stadiums. No doubt, I'm hoping they would have done so in the guidance of some respectable adults. Saying that to say, clearly the promotion worked. And as I said, I was one of those people there who gave the Jamaica Football Federation their credits. But one of the things I was concerned about was, would the same be done for the Reggae Girls? That was one of the things I was waiting, anticipating, whether or not the same level of promotion will spill over to the Reggae Girls. And I think it's safe to say we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that level of equality, and that's probably a word that some of you don't want to brush up on. But I think what I'm looking at is equality versus inequality, and I'm just going to call a spade a spade. If you choose to disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. You know, football is a game of opinions. We don't need to bicker with each other. We don't need to call each other names. If you see things differently, then, you know, educate me. Perhaps I'm looking at things from a negative perspective, or maybe I'm looking at it from an unbalanced perspective. So feel free to educate me. But I think it's safe to say, if we look at the promotion of the men's team and the women's team, there's definitely some glimpses of equality versus inequality, and inequality where the women's team is concerned. Definitely happy and pleased to see the promotion around the men's team, but I would love to see the same echoed and mirrored for the women's team. And, you know, I don't want no one getting smart with me and saying, oh, it's a friendly, because I'm pretty sure if the Jamaica men's team, whether it's the youth team or the senior team, if at any level, boys or men, if they had a friendly in the pipeline against France, we would not hear the end of it. It would be shoved in our faces. We would know everything we need to know about that particular match there. And we've seen with the promotion of the men's team, be it home or away, friendly or competitive, when it comes to the men's team, they get everything handed on a platter to them. they are treated like kings and whatever else, they're treated well in that regard as it relates to the promotion around their team. And I'm not mad at it. I do like it, I do encourage it, but I would definitely like to see that again echoed and mirrored where the women's team is concerned. I mean, currently it's, for me, it's almost as if the Jamaica Football Federation have slightly, to an extent, they've jumped the ship. To each their own, but they're already promoting the men's team match against the USA. And I don't fault them. I don't fault them for doing that. But let's just remind ourselves that before we get to that match there where the men's team are set to take on USA, CONCACAF Nations League fixture, let's just remind ourselves that before we get to November 14, we have to focus on October 25th, where the women's team are set to take on the French women's national team. And I think, not that I want to stir the boat or stir the pot or make things sour and negative. I don't think I'm doing that. I think the JFF have done that by themselves. They don't need my help in that regard. But I think the lack of promotion around the women's team, it needs to get better, because what it looks like now as an outsider looking on, maybe it's not done. I would like to say for their own good that it's not done intentionally. But when things is continuously repeated and repeated and repeated, and when you are spoken to and people are telling you that you need to make tweaks here and there, and you're still just doing the same old habit, those old habits for me then turn into intent. It just means that you're being intentional. And if that's what I'm going to believe, then I think the lack of promotion around your women's team is foul and disrespectful. Definitely foul and disrespectful. It's difficult for me to say, okay, let's move forward. The JFF have told us recently, I think, couple months back, or most certainly when they were going through the election campaign, about a new JFF, a change to come, etc., etc. But it's almost as if when it comes to this women's team that they do have to fight each and every time to just get the basic of respect. And I'm not on board with that, because it just, for me, what it feels like right now is that we're moving forward, but we're doing so with old habits. And yes, old habits dies hard. But I think if you have enough time to do all that excellent promotion for the men's team, you can most certainly do the same for the women's team. Let's not forget here that this is not no Mickey Mouse team. This is a team that has successfully qualified for back-to-back FIFA Women's World Cup. This is a team that's gone on to or a country that's managed to go on to the round of 16 of the FIFA Women's World Cup. So it goes without saying, like it or not, whether you respect women's football or not, to each their own, but the facts don't lie. And the fact of the matter is, the Reggae Girls senior team is Jamaica's best performing football team ever. You want to argue with that, you're going to have to argue with that with yourself on the closest wall next to you, because I will not be debating with you on that one. The Reggae Girls senior national team, the senior national women's team of Jamaica, is our best performing football team ever. And because of that, they deserve the utmost of respect. I should not be sat here looking and saying equality versus inequality, because that should not be a thing. That should not be a thing. So I'm going to need whoever is in charge of the promotion to please, guys, put some respect on the promotion of the women's team. Stop dragging your heels. Stop treating them like there's some ordinary fluff that you can just and get rid of, because you cannot. It doesn't matter if it's an away match. I'm not concerned about what France are doing and whether France are promoting the game. What France does is their business, not mine. With the greatest of respect to them, I'm unbothered. That, to me, if you're looking at that game and saying you're not promoting it because it's not in Jamaica, then don't promote none of the Reggae Boys away matches then. That, to me, is a excuse, and we're not going to embrace excuse. We're going to leave excuse to mediocre individuals, and I'm sure we don't want to be classed as mediocre. So I'm going to need you guys there at the Jamaica Football Federation, whoever is in charge of the promotion and the marketing of the women's team, please get your acts together, because you are slacking and it is damn right disrespectful, and we're not standing for it. We need you guys to give the same love. And I did say that I would call it out if I saw it. I did say it some weeks ago. I did say, and here I am, unfortunately, having to call these things out. And does promotion matter? Absolutely. Promotion definitely matters. We've seen in real time, thanks to the growth and popularity and accessibility of social media, just how wonderful marketing is and how important marketing is when it comes to any given brand. And you don't need me to tell you, that the women's game is definitely heading in the right direction. Though I do have to be cautious in saying that. I think it's safe to say, to an extent, women's football is somewhat on the rise in terms of popularity and record-breaking attendance. Now, record-breaking attendance, that shouldn't be something that is new to women's football, because as I said, we've been there, done that before as it relates to just women football in general. And I'll give you guys a quick little reminder of those record-breaking figures. And much of that you can look back and say, for context, there is clearly an appetite there for women's football. I feel like women's football and the way that the Reggae Girls are treated, people probably believe that no one is interested. And boy, are you wrong. Boy, are you wrong. You could put this game on Mars and Jamaicans will show up if you promote the game well enough. They would show up because they're not going to have those aliens up on Mars, if there are aliens, outdo us with regards to the 12th man, turning up in their abundance. So let's just look at this for context sake in terms of the fact that, there's always been a appetite for women's football, and that appetite is growing. And, if you do it well enough, you will reap the benefits. You will see the dividends in terms of the financial gain, because let's not kid ourselves, football is a business. Whether you like it or not, it is a business. Depending on how the guys there in the high echelons in the boardroom, how they go about their business, sometimes it's not to the best of their abilities. Sometimes they're dragging their heels, and sometimes they just knock it out the park. So this one here, again, I'm not going to read this entire article, but this is just for context purposes in terms of the popularity there of women's football, and that, people have always had an interest in women's football, right? So this one here taken from the trusted Guardian and the reputable Susan Rack. The headline there: how the FA banned women's football in 1921 and tried to justify it. A year after more than 50,000 turned up to watch Dick Kerr's ladies play St. Helens, a ban was introduced that was to last half a decade. Yes, guys, 1921, and we're talking about figures of 50,000 spectators showing up to watch women's football. So these record-breaking numbers that we're seeing now in the modern day and age, modern era, yes, they are record-breaking, but they should not come as a surprise. Don't look at it and be like, oh, I'm quite surprised. You shouldn't be. And it does say here, despite women having been turfed out of the workplace in large numbers, and the return of men's football after its suspension between 1915 and 1919, the women's game was thriving at the turn of the 1920s with the Dick Kerr's ladies, a famous factory team from Preston, at the forefront. And I'm only going to read the relevant bit here. I'm not going to read too much. I'll probably read just the first two paragraphs there, again, for context purposes. So it says here, in 1920, the team would play 4 international home fixtures against a what? French team. Yes, a French team led by the women's sports advocate Alex Milliat at Deepdale, Stockport in Manchester, and then Stamford Bridge. The team then headed to France and played in Paris, Roubaix, Le Havre, and Rouen. Now, French, in terms of the French speakers out there, pardon my French, literally pardon my French. I know I butchered a couple of those names there. Sorry, I will brush up on my French. Maybe not in time for Friday, but I'll try to do better in the future, okay? No need to, no intent, I should say, in offending you guys with my pronunciations. All right, so it does continue by saying it would prove to be a hugely popular tour. And on the team's return in England, the hype for a scheduled Boxing Day match against rival St. Helens at Goodison Park was building. Few, though, could have predicted the impact the fixture would have had on the future of women's football. And it does say here, I'm going to finish with this paragraph. On the day of the match, 53,000 fans would file into the ground for the game. According to the diary of player Alice Stanley, a further 10 to 15,000 supporters turned away from the at capacity ground. It set an attendance record. And listen carefully, guys. Remember, this was back in 1920. It set an attendance record that would not be surpassed for 90 years. Now, that record stood until Team GB defeated Brazil at Wembley during the London 2012 Olympic Games in front of 70,584 spectators and remains the biggest. This is a dated article, right? And this article says, and remains the biggest domestic game in women's football in England with 38,262 who watched Arsenal defeat Tottenham in the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 17th of November 2019. And that game there was placed as number one. And it's quite fitting that Arsenal would be involved in record-breaking numbers, right? And it's not the first time, wouldn't have been the first and only time that Arsenal there were involved in record-breaking numbers. You know, they are the trailblazers. I think they are the standard bearers when it comes to women football, most certainly in England. And also you could put them there globally as well for their illustrious trophy cabinet. Only women's football team in England to have the Champions League firmly in their back pocket. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this one there on screen because we did discuss it. And I do apologize. I have my headline in the way. I did you guys dirty there. I'm sorry. I apologize. But I'm reading it to you, so do forgive me. You can see there in bold for you, New Barclays. Again, this is a dated article, right? 17th of February, it says, Arsenal women again involved in record-breaking numbers, right? Women's Super League attendance record broken in Arsenal's win over Manchester United. Key information there, the Women's Super League attendance record was broken as Arsenal beat Manchester United 3-1 on Saturday. It was the first time that the Emirates Stadium, home of Arsenal's men's team, had sold out for a women's game. The club announced that 60,160 tickets had been sold, beating the previous WSL record of 59,042, which came in Arsenal involved in three record-breaking numbers there, win over Chelsea at the Emirates Stadium. Right. So there you go, guys. And again, for context purposes, this is why promotion is so evidently important. I shouldn't really have to put anything in context for you guys to understand the reason why promotion is important. Now, if you give people the necessary information, they will show up. You always have to promote everything. So for the Jamaica Football Federation, you're being lazy. Let's just call a spade a spade. You're slacking, you're dragging your heels. I couldn't care less if the game is away or not. People need to know about the game. People need to know, how do you get to the game? I saw you guys did some travel advisory content, and I thought that was top notch, very well thought out. And I would have liked to have seen the same extended to the reggae girls as well, you know, because yes, it is an away fixture, but clubs promote away fixtures all the time. You only have to look at pre-season. When it comes to pre-season, I bet you my last penny, by the time we reach to March, clubs in the Premier League, clubs in the women's division, be in the WSL or wherever, they're going to start their promotion for their pre-season, and much of that is to do with traveling outside of the country. So there can't be an excuse to say that, you know, there's no promotion around it because we're playing away in France. France are in charge of the gates and etc. etc. I'm not sure what the excuse is, but the excuse is a feeble excuse that is unacceptable. It's something that I can't accept. Maybe the guys in the comment section and the guys who are quietly listening can accept it, but I definitely can't. And I said, you know, if you promote the game, we will show up in our numbers. Fans will show up with our numbers. I was talking to a friend today, and it's so funny that he actually thought that the game would be played at the France national stadiums. You know, like over here in Wembley, we are here in Wembley. Over here in London, they have Wembley as a national stadium. So he actually thought that this game against France will be played in the French version of their national stadium. I think it's called Stade France. I might need to double check that in terms of France national football team stadium, or bare minimum, he thought it would be played. Yeah, it is Stade France. He thought that it would be played at one of the popular grounds. And I was like, oh no, 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 hold your horses. I actually think that's quite a bit of a downer. That's quite a bit of a shame. I would have loved to have seen this game here played at Lyon or at PSG's stadium. And you know, the French Federation, surely you could have made that happen. Surely you could have just called up and just say, hey, lads, girls, whatever, you know, make some room, we're coming through and we need to use your stadium. Instead, when I look at this game, when the press release came out, I just told myself, ain't no way I'm making it there. I really just said to myself, that one is in the sticks. I might just get lost. So I really just made my mind up that due to the traveling, I won't be going. But had I not done my research, I would have been a bit like my friend and other people as well. Some high important people in football actually thought that this game would be played at a more prolific stadium. Right. So again, this is why I'm saying that some promotion should have been done around it, if in case people in Europe wanted to pop over to France and watch the girls play on Friday. I think the general assumption is that it's either going to be in Paris or in Lyon, you know, those popular football grounds. But it's pretty much, for me, when I looked at the map, it's like in the middle of nowhere when I was zooming in on the map, that is. So nevertheless, develop the game to enhance or to flirt with people's appetite. You've got to do the bare minimum. The girls are already doing that in terms of the performance. They're getting the necessary results. So I think that we need to push forward there where the Jamaica Football Federation is concerned and promote the hell out of these games, just like what you've been doing with the men's team. If you promote the game well enough, fans will show up. And it's not just about fans showing up in France. Fans will be looking at showing up elsewhere when you play those games on home soil, when you come to different parts in Europe, when you go across the pond to the United States and so on. So yeah, please do go ahead and do better, promote the women's game, right? Because they do deserve it. Let's see what you guys are saying. Boss Thomas, yes, I'm going to go over the squad sheet at some point. Women's football is growing leaps and bounds across the world, and Jamaica have one of the most prized teams in women's football with one of the best players on earth. How hard is it to market the team? The Jamaica football team, the Jamaica women's football team, is one of the easiest teams that you will ever be able to market. They are so marketable. And, you know, in my intro at the start of every live stream, where we talk about the fact that for me, this women's team represent the Jamaica national motto, out of many one people. You only have to look at the physical makeup of this team and you see, you know, you have girls with straight hair, afro, dreadlocks, curly hair. You have girls who are dark skin, fair complexion. You have girls that just make up and represent so many different communities that it's a real shame that we're not tapping into that and embracing the beauty that oozes within this squad. And also, if you don't want to look at the physical makeup of the team, talk about the performance, because the performance speaks volumes. The performance speaks for itself. So yeah, it's not difficult to promote this women's team. I just put it down to people just being lazy. Big up yourself, DC. Good evening, good night all. Big up yourself. Considering how the Reggae Girls are the most accomplished football team in the Caribbean, lack of promotion seems unwise. Yeah, it's a little bit stupid if you ask me. Rockfort, I hope you are okay there. Hello to yourself in your community. I hope you are well. It's been a while since I've seen you. Have you been? Here and there. I'm here and there, you know, trying to keep my head above water. So I'm here and there. Player care officers, are you staying locally or worldwide? Excellent question. I'm going to stick a pin in it. I'm going to leave it at what Rockfort said. Right. So obviously he's referencing to my title, and for context, as on my title, it mentions the fact that women's football, it's time for women's football to basically reinforce player care offices into the women's game. And it's something that came to me. I might have touched on it on my last stream, on Friday night stream. I've definitely touched on it on previous live streams. And there's a couple of things in the women's game that definitely bothers me, and I'm going to try and touch on the standout, or maybe the ones that needs to be prioritized, because everything is done to priority. So I'm still left sat here. Let's see if I can get up that team sheet there where the reggae girls are concerned. I'm going to have to do something quickly my end. I'm going to try and see if I can get up the team sheet there so we can look at that in a brief moment. Just bear with me there, guys. So as I was saying, continuing on from Friday night's live stream, I'm still not happy with the fact that we do not have one of the most important, well talked about best footballers in the world, in our captain Khadija Banishaw, available for this clash here against France. Yes, it is a friendly, but it's a wonderful game, and I'm sure she would like to be part of the squad. And also, we don't have our former skipper, Kanya Plummer. And if you've been watching my recent live streams with regards to the weekend of action there, where we look at the games played at various levels across the game as it relates to the Reggae Girls and their respective clubs, you would have heard me speak about Tiffany Cameron. So over the last couple of weeks and maybe a month and so, we've looked at concerning issues for me in relations to visa, paperwork, and documentation. And in total, so far, from what it's worth or what we are being told and what's reported to us, that is Cameron, Bunny, and Plummer. And for me, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's 3 players too many. I think that is 3 players too many, because they are playing professional football. They're playing in leagues that is notable and respectable, playing for some of the biggest clubs in world football. And as I said to you guys before, women's football is pulling in record-breaking numbers, not just here in England, but coincidentally also in Liga F there, where Tiffany Cameron plays for Real Betis. So for me, is there's so many different concerns there, and my concerns, I've looked at where the agents and the representative could potentially be slacking, and now I'm also looking at just football in general, and I'm just wondering, how many more stories like these do we need, or is football going to wait until there is a story there, or stories that develop that is so alarming that they do have to double down and give the game those player care officers in their abundance? Because I think what I've noticed there with a couple of our players, so your Cameron, your Bunny, your Plumber, I think what we have noticed there, without knowing the intricacies of each of those individual situations, we kind of scratch the surface as it relates to Tiffany. We know that she joined, for context, joined up with her team Real Betis basically whilst they were in the final stage of preparing for match day 1 of the new season, right? The new competitive football season. So with that said, she, to no fault of her own, missed out on an entire preseason, right? And that was down to visa related issues. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, from an outsider looking on, I don't know these clubs, but the impression that I'm getting is that these clubs, be it intentionally or unintentionally, are treating these girls at various levels, in particularly the foreign players and the young Black girls and Black women, as if it's just one cap that fits all. And I don't think that's the right way to go about that. Now, what I mean by that is, in my opinion, when I'm looking on and I'm seeing these stories there where players are being messed about and they can't travel and they can't compete, they can't link up with their team due to passport and visa issues, I'm looking and I'm thinking that these clubs, again, be it intentionally or unintentionally, are treating these players as if they're just all one. You know, they're treating like they're treating them as if they're all residents within the respective countries that they're playing in. So they're probably looking at them as if they're all English girls, or they're all Turkish girls, or they're all Spanish girls. And it's just like, no, you cannot treat them the same as you would treat your English girls or your Spanish girls or your Turkish girls, because it does what it says on the tin. They're foreign girls. So there's going to have to be a different level of line of work as it relates to how you manage them and how you treat them. But it just seems that these mistakes that's being made at club level and spilling over international level is amateur stuff. It's amateur mistakes. And it begs me to question whether these foreign girls, you know, and they are foreign because they play in leagues that's not of their country of birth, and so on. So they are foreign girls, and it's almost as if they're just being forgotten about. And I would like to say that it's unintentional, but this is where I say that more needs to be done when it comes to your player care. Now, player care officers varies from club to club. Player care is to be honest with you, you can't just summarize it. It's going to change from, I think, in terms of the typical day-to-day work, it will remain the same. But when you move from club to club, some club might do something less, some clubs might do something more, some club might do something unique. But the game definitely needs more player care officers to, for example, to deal with what we're having to um see unfold in front of us. So we need more player care officers in the game dealing with a number of issues, especially as it comes to, you know, overseeing paperwork and documentation. There needs to be player care officers who are hands-on and analytical and can do the necessary groundwork to prevent issues from coming to fruition later on down the line. So, you know, checking up your foreign players. For me, if I'm a player care officer, I'm checking your passport. I'm making sure it's up to date. I'm making sure that I make a note of when it's going to expire. I'm looking at your visa because you are a foreign player, so you must need a visa. And I'm looking to see how we can get that done before you know, the unfortunate happens. And as I said, I don't feel like they've been treated equally. And you know, definitely when it comes to women's football, in case you don't know, black girls and maybe foreign players in general, they're definitely treated differently. Football in general for women is a unlevel playing field. It's even more unlevel when you're black. It's even more unlevel when you're a woman. It's just the fact of the matter. Now, the situation that we're in, unfortunately, it does have a knock-on effect. Because when you look at someone like let's say I'm looking at the three examples there. So let's look at Tiffany Cameron again with her visa situation there over the summer. She is now feeling that knock-on effect that could have been prevented had the club, and I'm assuming, I don't know Real Betis, I'm assuming, but if you have a um internal my god, I've been saying the name, some player care officer, then they're clearly not doing their job. Because if they were doing their job, then she wouldn't have found herself in that unfortunate situation where now the knock-on effect is she's now being utilized since coming back into the team, generally as a substitute, as I've touched on over the last couple of weeks. And you know, Bunny, we've already seen Bunny miss out on a Champions League match in France against Paris, and now she's missing out on an international friendly. Plummer, again, former Reggae Girls captain, she's missing out on international friendly. And Plummer and Bunny's reason is due to passport limitation. I'm not sure what the heck that means. That one is open to interpretation, but it goes without saying that these reasons, whoever is at fault, whether it starts with the club and now it's spilled over to the international scene, you're definitely robbing the players blind. You're robbing the players blind because they're missing out on one crucial minutes. Again, you look at Tiffany Cameron, lack of minutes, not being able to accumulate the necessary minutes in her back pocket. And also in a sense, in a concerning way, you're robbing these girls of historic moments. Now, I'm sure without me saying it, you guys should know that, all the hard work and dedication that would have been done by the trailblazers of yesteryear, like your Bunny Shaw and your Kanya Plummer, not being able to play in this game against France. What that means is that you're not able, to an extent, to a small percentage for the time being, touch wood, it doesn't happen again, they now can't embrace the fruition of their dream. I'm sure these girls would have grown up saying, that they want to be playing against the France and the USA and the Spain and your Australia, and it's now in front of them. And unfortunately, two of our most high profile players, a former captain and current captain, can't play in one of our biggest games. Yes, it is an international friendly, but it's against France, so it's not a small game, and I think it's important to have these conversations, because if this can happen to back-to-back Ballon d'Or nominee in Khadija Bunny Shaw, then arguably the best forward in the world, then it's safe to say others are doomed. Unless you have your player care officers for your respective clubs who are on it and are just there to do their job and are going above and beyond and look out for you and have your back, or unless you have your agents or your representative that's just on it and just won't let nothing slip, and you do what you need to do on the field of play and they take care of you off it. Unless you're privy to have those in your arsenal, then you're pretty much doomed. And I'm not trying to put a downer on no one, but you are pretty much doomed. And it's not just about the knock-on effect in terms of playtime. You know how it goes when players are not playing. You have to also look at their well-being, and again, this is where the player care officers come into play, because when you're looking at the well-being, there's a number of things that could happen there, in terms of how the players are feeling. And if there isn't a welfare officer available, then who do they talk to essentially when there is when the inevitable comes up? So like your visa and passport limitation, all that complexity, when it does come up to who do you actually turn to? You have players who have some alarming stories, untold stories that have yet to be told when they're going through those difficulties with their clubs. And sometimes it does at times fall on those clubs there that's probably not as notably known, not known as the bigger countries, the bigger clubs there, like dare I say your Manchester City, or I don't know, your Arsenal. Not to say that things can't go south with those clubs, but you get where I'm coming from. You will have players, undoubtedly foreign players, who at some point during their career or during their season, they're going to feel unsettled, they're going to feel homesick, especially if we're dealing with something that's outside of their control. They might be unfortunate to fall down the pecking order due to injury or due to something like this, passport and documentation and visa issues, and slowly, where they were once probably a guaranteed starter, they now have to almost start from scratch and work their way up. And you put these players in leagues where the country that they're in, the majority of the players around them speak a language that is foreign to them. They don't speak their mother tongue, they speak a language that's foreign to them, and that might put them in a situation where they become a little bit paranoid, because they're thinking, is this one talking about me? Is this one disrespecting me? When you find yourself in those positions, who do these players turn to? Obviously, typically welfare officers aren't experts when it comes to mental well-being, but they do, as I said, it varies from club to club. It does vary. They do scratch the surface. And of course, if you have a player there that's dealing with mental challenges, you would be able, I should imagine that the player care officer should be able to point them in the right direction. Or connect the player or players to therapists and so on. Now, obviously, not every player can play. you know. And you know, if you can't play, footballers want to play. If they're ambitious, they want to play. When you fall down that pecking order and you're not able to play, it's inevitable that it will become straining and mentally draining on your well-being. I mean, you're not accumulating when you're accumulating, I should say, a low number of minutes, it could potentially have a detrimental effect on your well-being. And you know, you guys don't need me saying it, you don't need me reminding you, there is definitely enough money in football to take care of its players. You know, there's a crazy amount of our money in football. Now, in terms of player care, I'll go a little bit deeper so that you guys can understand the role of a player care officer. I'm going to spin back and look at this team there, give it another little read for you guys. This is an ad that is long surpassed, belonging to Liverpool Football Club, where the women's team is concerned. And you can see here, player care and well-being officer. Now, I just wanted you guys to know about the role of player care officers, right? And how a couple of those bullet points there relates to our topic of conversation, right? So here is a couple of the things that you would be asked to do if you was the player care officer for Liverpool Women's Football Club. It says here, lead on the player care matters for Liverpool women, for let's just use the abbreviation, LFC women players, support the welfare, well-being and mental health of LFC players in line with industry practice, maintain effective links with national bodies regarding player welfare, support the collection and storage of appropriate parental consent form for U18s, U18 players taking part in the LFC first team activities, support the day-to-day management of safeguarding, liaise with parents, guardians where relevant on all welfare and player care issues, liaise with the LFC women's safeguarding lead, the club head of safeguarding and general counsel on all safeguarding issues, liaise with senior LFC first team staff and press department on all potential PR matters, communicate relevant information about player care issues to the appropriate coaches, manage any citizenship or community engagement activities, create a life skill development program leading on organizing relevant workshops, awareness weeks, work closely with the medical team, psychologists to manage the mental and emotional well-being strategy, arrange individual player travel when appropriate, creating an itinerary and communicating this to all relevant stakeholders, signpost appropriate incidents to the most relevant stakeholders, manage all player departures from the club, supporting upon release and assisting in the transition of players to other clubs, employment, education, or training, working with players on future education and post-football career opportunities, manage players' match day tickets, organize and manage player welfare records, safeguarding records, education, diversity and inclusion, consent forms, welfare communications, parent meeting where U18s and meetings minutes, provide player care support to loan players where appropriate, organize and attend meetings and record keepings, and keep records and file information, update data where appropriate, ensure appropriate level of confidentiality are maintained in relation to sensitive information, and finally there, attend relevant WSL meetings as and when required. So obviously a couple of the things there that stand out to me anyway here. The first one is maintain effective links with national bodies regarding player welfare. What else stand out? Manage any citizenship or community engagement activities. And obviously they do make mention here of work closely with medical team psychologists to manage their mental and emotional well-being strategy. So there's little bullet points there that could definitely save us where the current situation is concerned as it relates to visa, passport and documentation issues or limitations, right? So that's why I'm saying that I do believe that more needs to be done. We do need football somewhere needs to reinforce more player care officers across the game. And it's not just for the professional players, it's the players that play at low level. Because Jesus, I mean, if these professional players like your Bonnie Shaw, your Plummer, and your Cameron are dealing with this nonsense, imagine what the young girls and the women have to put up with at the lower end of the professional, or I should say, football pyramid. Imagine what they have to deal with. Imagine their stories. Imagine all the nightmares that they have to handle. And for the most part, they have to deal with that by themselves. So it's pretty frightening stuff. But there's definitely money in football to avoid this. We're talking about leagues where records are being broken, and World Cups again where records are being broken. For me, there's no excuse. The players come first. Football like to tell you that the fans come first. About the fans, football is nothing. Echo that when it comes to the players. About the players, football is nothing also. So more definitely needs to be done where the players are concerned, with an emphasis on foreign players and also young Black girls and Black women, because they do seem to be the forgotten ones in football. I don't want to put a downer on anything, but I could sit here and argue that for the most part, when things like this happening, and I'm not focusing on our players, but just in general, when the players' well-being aren't being taken into consideration, one has to wonder if much of that recruitment is merely down to or to an extent part of your tick boxing exercise. You want to make sure that you have a team that is representative of perhaps your community or representative of modern football, and no one can knock you if that's the case, but stand by it. Stand by your representation, stand by your diversity. And if there's people internal that don't understand the need of representation or don't understand foreign players, then find a way to upskill yourself, find a way to understand. If you don't understand, talk to the players. I'm sure they're not monsters. I'm sure they'd rather you have a conversation with them than to leave them in the dark. I'm sure they'd rather you ask them, is all well, what can you do to assist, than to leave them dealing with these challenges by themselves. DC, does Fifth Pro have a role in helping? That's an excellent question that I don't know the answer to, but they probably can help. I don't know if it's solely their remit, but they probably, knowing what they stand for, they probably can help. There's something fishy just about. I don't think there's anything fishy, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't think there's anything fishy, I don't think there's anything suspicious. I think the reasons stand for what they are. I just think that the reasons aren't good enough given where we're at with women's football, given the profile of the players, you know? The Jamaican passport does not allow both players to enter. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I think I spoke about that on last night's live stream. And for context, again, that's a feeble excuse, because we were aware of Bunny Shaw's situation, that she needed a visa. As I said, she missed out on the game again, the Champions League game with Manchester City and Paris in France due to reportedly visa issues. That was 1 month ago. 1 month ago, and we're still in the same limbo where we're talking about passport limitations. So for me, when you look at that, it's just unacceptable. Bunny is our captain. Bunny is a Ballon d'Or back-to-back nominee. So more needs to be done to support these girls, because it's not good enough. I'm sorry, but it's just not good enough. Yes, there is a limitation there, and I'm not saying that I don't buy the limitation. I'm just saying that that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. This is why I'm saying I don't think there's anything fishy with regards to what we've been told, or at least I'd like to think there's nothing fishy or suspicious. But I definitely think more needs to be done. More definitely needs to be done to assist and support these young ladies, young girls. Because it's just not good enough. And you talk about having passport, and this is why I'm saying I've looked at the passport situation. I've looked at agents and representative, and now I'm looking at um um player care officers, because you talk about those girls having Jamaican passports, but Let's look at Tiffany Cameron. Tiffany Cameron, Jamaican Canadian, born in Canada. She has dual nationality. She has a Canadian passport and her Jamaican passport. But even so, she plays in Spain. So there goes, yes, sir. She still needs her visa. She needs her visa so she can go off and get the job done into the country and work. Because let's remind ourselves, football is their 9 to 5. Football is the job for them. It's not just, it's a game to us, but it's a job for them. So having a Jamaican passport, to me, yes, but you knew that. We know that. We know that the Trailblazers within our squad, for what it's worth, the original Trailblazers, much of them do have Jamaican passports, and they probably don't have dual nationality just yet. But again, even a player like Tiffany Cameron, born in Canada, dual nationality, even she's had her hiccups when it comes to visa and documentation, right? So, um, 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 Brazaldino, good night. I hope you're okay. Rockford said, is Tiffany Cameron's situation password related also, Crystal? No, I hope I haven't confused you. I'm not sure at what point you tuned into the show. No, Tiffany Cameron's situation has long been resolved. I decided to make reference to Tiffany because that's now 3 players where we've had to deal with visa and documentation or passport limitations, and the reasons vary depending on the player. So no, the situation isn't the same because we're talking about Tiffany Cameron at club level not being able to get her visa in time so that she would then leave Canada during the summer and make her way to Spain to link up with her club Real Betis, and we've seen the detrimental effect of that. So no, it's not the same. I am surprised seeing that she have. No, it's not the same. I hope I haven't confused you. So my apologies if I have, but the situations aren't the same. And I've touched on the visa situation there where Tiffany Cameron's concerned on a number of live streams. But no, I do hope I've not confused you guys. Situations aren't the same, but either way, there is a situation. A situation exists. They may not be the same, but a situation definitely exists where the girls are concerned, and it shouldn't be. And sorry to shake the roof. I'm not here to sit and feed you guys nonsense. I'm not here to give you guys lazy content. If something bothers me, I'm going to talk about it. I might not be liked in the end, but so be it. I'd rather stand for something than stand for absolutely nothing, So I'm going to talk about it. Some people probably don't want me to talk about it, especially if it seems like I'm calling them out when I'm saying that the girls need better support. Agents probably won't like it. Player care officers probably won't like it. Representative probably won't like it, but I'm not doing it from a sinister perspective. I'm doing it because I want better for the team. I want better for the girls. I want better for women's football. And that's about it, really. Now we can go back a step and look at that team there again, right? The Reggae Girls team. I think someone asked about one of the players. If I'm not mistaken, I think someone asked about one of the players there, right? So just stick a pin in it, see what you guys are saying. Okay, the work permit that is from Rockford. Yeah, because like I said, I think people forget that these players play football as a job. It's a game to us, but it's a game and a job to them. Put it that way. It's a game and a job to them. So right. Right. Shall I do Brazildinho says, Crystal, these are the topics that make you so unique and necessary to Jamaica football. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot to me because, as I said, if something is troubling me, I'm going to talk about it. It might not make me the favorite. I'm not trying to be the favorite. I think real will always recognize real. People can sense purity, and I think when it comes to my work around the Reggae Girls and my delivery and my content creation around them, I think it's safe to say that the purity is definitely there. You know, it's not coming from a sinister perspective. It's not being done to shake the roof and get those high views. It's being done because I genuinely care. You know, I have to care because I'm taking a lot of time out of my day. These live streams don't just come together. Like, for example, I mean, I've brushed shoulders with player care officers, but I also wanted to find a bit of like a job spec, right? So I had to then pause at some point today and find that job spec. Luckily, I came across the job spec for the player care vacancy for Liverpool Women's Football Club, to share that with you guys. Again, Dick Kerr ladies. I know about Dick Kerr ladies. Some of you guys watching on and listening probably never heard of them. So again, I had to pause and find that relevant article. So it takes time, you know. If I didn't care, I wouldn't even bother doing half of what I do. Now, as it relates to the women's team, Rockfort says you are doing the right things. Please don't stop. I won't. It doesn't make me popular, I can tell you that. But I definitely won't stop. All right, let's take a pin in it and let's read out this team news to you guys. Right, I'm gonna make it quick. I don't have long left with you guys. Let's see. France versus Jamaica. Just a reminder, this one is kicking off this Friday. Between the sticks, we have Rebecca Spencer and Sydney Schneider. And again, before I continue, in case you guys didn't watch that press conference there, you might have to go back on my last live stream from Friday to hear from head coach Hubert Busby and also hear about the new recruits and also what we're doing with the backroom staff with regards to some new recruitments as well. So again, for context, the college girls unavailable. I think Busby is quite right. It would be wrong to put the girls in a position to choose between school and football. Education is always going to come first, right? So in case you guys are wondering, where are a couple of the college girls unavailable due to school commitments, education commitments there, all right? So again, between the sticks, we have Rebecca Spencer and Sydney Schneider. In defense, we have Chantel Swaby and Alison Swaby, and the welcome addition of Taylor Hines. We also have Denden Blackwood, Deanne Sampson, and Malia Atkins. In midfield, we have a welcome addition of Lulu Jarvis, Atlanta Primus. Jade Bailey returns, definite big fan favorite of Jade Bailey. I just want, touch word by the grace of God that this lady has a injury-free season. My God, she deserves a break. She deserves a break, for goodness sake. And hopefully she gets that break. And Drew Spence, also another return there for Shade Adamolakun. Said this before, I'm a fan of this player. You don't usually hear me saying I'm a fan of certain players, but I mean, that's not to say I'm not a fan of the rest of the girls' names that I've read out, but I'm a fan of her because I feel so bad for her. I really do feel like it was going so well again on the Vin Blaine, and then she was just like pushed to the wayside and kind of just almost forgotten. But I'm glad. I was starting to think of a few conspiracy theories there. So you know what? Fair play to Busby. He's kind of like squashed that. Because I was wondering, what does she have to do to be looked at? But she's back in the team, and I'm happy to see her. Another welcome addition, new addition there for Rihanna Blades. In terms of forwards, another welcome addition, new addition, Natasha Thomas. We've also got Paige Bailey Gale, Kayla McKenna, Jodie Brown. Shania Hills also returned, another welcome addition there where Shania Hills is concerned. Tiffany Cameron, Davia Richards, and Michaela Days. And that is how we're looking there where the women's team is concerned. For context, in terms of your Lulu, your Rihanna, your Natasha, yeah, and that's it. Because Taylor plays for Liverpool, the Red. So those three girls there, they play in various leagues, from the FA Women's National League South to the FA Women's National League North for their respective clubs, Plymouth Argyle, Ipswich Town, and also Burnley as well. As I said on my last live stream, we're not strangers to the FA Women's National League North, given that we watched Paige Paige Bailey Gale played for Newcastle United last season, and she handled the bits. You know, she did a job. Won promotion with the Toons. Sad, still sad that they didn't hold on to her. I don't know what the reason is. To each their own. But yeah, we're not strangers to those neck of the woods, those lower levels. And you know, fair play to these girls. Fair play to them. When you look at the trajectory of their careers and the age of these players, I think it's wise move. As I've always said, go where you're wanted, don't stay where you're tolerated, because it is going to be hell for you. Always go where you're wanted, never stay where you're tolerated. It will turn south, especially when you're young and black and female. So always go where you're wanted, not where you're tolerated. And I think that's what we're seeing there, where the young reggae girls are concerned. People like up the stream and subscribe. Crystal is doing a phenomenal job. Thank you there, Brazil Dino. Big up you guys there in the comment section. I lied to you guys, didn't I? I said this would be I'm pretty sure I said no more than 45 minutes. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. Sometimes I talk too much. I'll try to limit that, okay? Big up yourself there, Ronaldo. Informative as always. One channel, Talawa TV. I actually think I've come to the end of my live stream, guys. I think I've said that I wanted to say with regards to this ongoing issue in the women's game. So I don't know if you guys have anything there in the comment section that you'd like me to brush up on. Tomorrow, I'm aiming to come back tomorrow to talk about the weekend of action where the girls are concerned. Performance wise, I'm looking to just talk about that tomorrow. Because I couldn't fit it into tonight's schedule. So if you guys have any questions in the comment section, do let me know. Fire away with your questions. Please feel free to fire away. I'm going to be closing off. I'll probably say in about 6 minutes or less, depending on if you guys have any questions. Obviously, if you don't have any questions, I will be closing off sooner rather than later. And I'm sure I've touched on all of you guys there in the comment section. Yeah, I think I've touched on everything in the comment section. If you're silently watching, I hope you've touched the like button. I don't bite. Do make yourselves useful and pop a little comment in the comment section. The guys in the comment section don't bite as well. You know, we're not biters around here. We're pleasant human beings. I guess I could probably ask you guys closer to the time, like how you guys are feeling about the France match scores and predictions. Don't ask me to give you a prediction because I'm terrible at it. I am terrible. Crystal, do you have any info on the from Canada? You talk about Izzy, and I'm not sure which information you're I'm not sure what information you're asking of. What you might have to ask a different question for me, please. Ask a different question there for me, please. I think you're talking about Izzy, right? I think that's what you're talking about. So you might have to just go ahead and just ask a different question for me. Because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Not sure what you're referring to. Let's see. Knight Rider, I can't wrap my head around Taylor Hines. Wasn't she? I had this conversation with someone and I can't remember. I do remember. I'm going to tell you what I spoke to someone, I think it was yesterday, and they said the same thing that you said, that they can't believe Taylor Hines doesn't play for England. And I really had to ask him, did you really let that come out of your mouth? You really can't believe that Taylor Hines isn't playing for England? Really? Just take a step back and ponder over that thought. Just ponder over that thought. That's all I'm going to say. Ponder over that thought. But she belongs to us. So we're not really focused on what England have and what England don't have, you know. That's their loss in my opinion. That's a massive, massive loss for them. So, you know, they don't want her. That's their business. Definitely their loss. Despite the past contention between the JFF and Bunisher, if she plays the next friendly, will there be the slightest effort at promotion? I think I need to think about the question that you're asking me. If she plays the next friendly, you mean promotion for the women's team? I don't think it should happen. I don't think it should sorry, I don't think it should matter is what I should say. I don't think it should matter whether she's able to play or not. I mean, sounds like you're asking me if they're cutting off their noses to spite their faces. That sounds like what you're asking me, and I don't think it should matter, you know? Don't think it should matter because yes, Bunny is unavailable to no fault of her own, but we still have a game to play. We also still have our vice captain. Vice captain is probably going to be Alison Swaby, as we've seen over recent matches and so on. But for me, I don't think, and I don't think it matters. I don't really know what you put it down to, but I don't really think it matters, guys. I do not think it matters. Yeah, I don't think much of that matters. No, she isn't. Just tuned in. Definitely isn't capped. So based on your is everything okay in camp with the coach? Based on my understanding, all I use is my common sense. I don't have no inside info. I don't I just use my common sense. So take what I say with a pinch of salt because nobody's giving me any information. What I can tell you is bare minimum the team is expected to arrive tomorrow in France. I might have to extend that arrival period maybe to Thursday, the latest for Vian, considering she's traveling from Japan. Or maybe she's ahead of the curve, but maybe the latest for someone like Vian Sampson is probably Tuesday. But I don't know. I don't know. When it comes to me speaking about the women's team, like the reggae girls, take it with a pinch of salt because it is my opinion. It's not like I've got someone telling me this or telling me that, and I much prefer to just speak freely with as long as I'm not offending anyone. That's the only thing. I don't really need to be fed any information. I don't want no one putting me in their back pocket. So I'm more comfortable just speaking my mind, speaking my opinion. It's how I managed to build a reputation of my platform. So I'm going to be sticking to my guns. Thinks one of the greatest women ever. Warren Webster. Where is Warren's comment? I'm sure I saw Warren's pick up yourself, Mikey D. Luffy. I hope you're okay. I have no clue. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. And let me think about that for a second. Hold on. I have no idea what Busby's gonna do with his team. I don't know if he's gonna go with the centre back pairing of the Swaby sisters, or if he's gonna pull one of them like your Allison and put player as a fullback. I don't know. I don't have a clue. I suck at that part. I can tell you that much. No, she isn't cap in a your yard, in a your community. I mean, I'm making up names. I think Bunny's one of our greatest sportswomen ever, a legend in my opinion. Definitely, 100%. I get the impression that she wasn't. I get the impression that she wasn't, and that's great, and that's a plus. Oh, you're talking about Taylor Hines. Yeah. Yeah, guys. I've been doing this for 1 hour and 17 minutes. I feel like I'm losing focus now, guys. What time is it? It's 1:20. I don't know if you guys can give me some tips on how to sleep because I still can't think you guys have known me for long enough now that I'm not able to sleep properly. If you guys can give me some advice on how to rest when nighttime comes, that will definitely be appreciated. It's Philip. Oh, Mr. Beckford. I hope you're well. I hope you're in good health. It's been a while. Where have you been? It's been a while. It has definitely been a while. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I could share with you guys. Just give me a brief little second. Let's see if there's anything else. No. No additional information, unfortunately. No additional information, guys. Yeah, my only real peeve right now is that they just need to promote the women's game better, in my opinion. Active but wasn't seeing you. I work mostly at night, can't sleep. I have trouble when it comes to sleeping. I think anyone who knows me will tell you that, and it has a knock-on effect. Definitely has a knock-on effect, which isn't great. So yeah, I do need to get better at that, definitely. And guys, I think that's it. I think we have to stick a pin in it. I think we've come to the end of the live stream. I am going to spin back and speak some more about the weekend of Action Day where our respective reggae girls are concerned, and their performance for their respective clubs. So you will be getting that. All right. I think I've explained already why you guys didn't get that for tonight's live stream, right? Tasia, good night. I'm about to sign out, Tasia, but I hope you're well. So what's the time? Time is the game, Eastern. Didn't the Federation say it's 2 p.m.? You're talking about the game. Hold on. Hold on. I think they said it's a 2 p.m. kickoff. Did the Federation not say it's a 2 p.m. kickoff in the press release? Hold on. I think they said it's a 2 p.m. kickoff, Let me just look at that press release quickly. If I'm not, yeah, it's kickoff, so 9:05 in France, and it's a 2:05 p.m. kickoff in Jamaica. Hopefully I can join some other time. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I need to figure out how to just balance myself a bit there, guys, especially where the sleep is concerned, because not where it needs to be. Definitely have some work to be done. Just trying to think, there's something else that I needed to share with you guys, but where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Can't find it. I definitely cannot find it. I cannot find it. Might have to save that until my next live stream. I can't find it. That's very frustrating. Okay. Yeah, I can't find what I'm trying to search for, guys. That's a bit of a shame. That is a bit of a shame. It's a real shame. All right, guys. I think I've come to the end of the stream. I'm gonna try and see what I could do with regards to my gonna try and see what I can't remember. I can't remember what I was gonna say, guys. I'm losing focus. I'm losing focus and I'm lost train of thought. I'm assuming that is Jamaica time, Warren. I'm assuming that is Jamaica time. And as for Rockford, I'm going to spill that one over onto tomorrow's show where I talk about the Reggae Girls weekend of action review. I don't have access to that. I really don't have access to Soursap maybe I need to look in the Afro-Caribbean shops actually. Good shout. I might have to look into the Afro-Caribbean shop. Who am I looking forward to seeing play? Excellent question. I think the new recruits. I think I'm looking forward to seeing the new recruits. Tomorrow, I'm aiming to do one tomorrow. I'm also trying to see if I could do something different for you guys with regards to my live streams. I'm not sure if I'll be able to achieve it, but I'm looking to try and see if I can do something different. I think that is me done. How many times have I said that already? I'm losing train of thought, guys. There's something else that I wanted to say with you guys, say to you guys, but I'm losing train of thought. So I think it's best to just park this one to the side and just call it a night. It says I'm going to let you get some rest, turn off all your electronics. Maybe a nice boring book will help put you to sleep. Yeah, that might work. That might work. I'm going to try, or maybe some white noise might help me. I do like nature, so I like hearing the sound of nature. So like birds chirping or like river flowing, like the sea waves. Those are some things that I'm trying to like test out. But guys, thank you for supporting me with my live stream. It's been going on for almost 1 hour and 30 minutes. I don't know. Do you guys want me to take it to 1 hour and 30 minutes? If I do, I can drop the link in the comment section and one of you could join me for the last 6 minutes. I could try round this off to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let me know. Let me just be kind to you guys because you guys do support me. Just drop the link. I'm going to drop the link in the comment section. If you want to, anyone wants to come on for the next, let's say, 5 minutes, I'm willing to sit with you for 5 more minutes. Okay. So the link is there. You already know I don't have much rules. My only rule is to just keep it respectful with myself, the guys in the comment section, and also to the players or athletes. To be fair, the promotion of this game will not benefit. I think you're just tuning in, man from Portland. Good evening to yourself. Yeah, that's one of the things that I touched on. But that shouldn't be the case because it might not benefit them ticket wise, but what about the Jamaicans that want to get to the game? Because as I said, a lot of Jamaicans assume that this game is being played in Lyon or PSG's stadium or Stade de France, like the national stadium for the national football team, when it isn't, you know. So yeah. Mr. Bedford says he can't. Let's wait and see on the game promotion for the home game. You're making excuses for them, man from Portland, but each to their own. I'm not making excuses because when the Reggae Boys play home and away, their game gets promoted. The Reggae Boys matches home and away gets promoted. So I'm not making no excuses for them. Friendly or competitive, the game should be promoted. So I'm not making excuses, but I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with it, but let's remind ourselves that the women's team is the most successful football team in our country. And also let's remind ourselves of the individual and collective accolades that they've managed to achieve. Let's also turn our attention to club football and football played elsewhere at international level. Other countries promote away games, clubs promote away matches, clubs promote when they're going on tour and so on. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for the Jamaica Football Federation. I think it's shameful. We saw a promo leading up to the away matches for the Reggae Boys. There's promos there. They're keeping it in your faces. And promo, it doesn't even necessarily, it could just be something that is created on a one-off and then utilize at different times of the day, different days. So again, when it comes to the Reggae Boys, they did something about the traveler advisory, something of that ilk. You could do the same for the Reggae Girls. Not everyone knows how to get around France. Not everyone knows where the nearest airport is. Not everyone knows where the nearest train station is. Just little stuff like that, be as helpful as you can. hot chocolate or Milo before bed and focus on relaxing before bed. Yeah, really? Hot chocolate? Hot chocolate? Milo is expensive, you know, Mr. Webster. Milo is very expensive. Try listening to some soulful and peaceful music while you watch or read documentary or papers you've already read and see if it. Yeah, I love documentaries. I do love documentaries. So documentaries is probably a good shout. Documentaries is probably a good shout, but yeah, so promotion again, guys. Promotion is not just about the game itself. It's not just about the game itself, it's everything in the build up to the game, you know. All the things, match facts, all of that. That's the way of promoting the game. That's the way of getting people excited. That's the way of getting people buzzing. Because as I said, home or away, the men's team gets plugged. So I'm not buying that. But to each their own, you know, to each their own. Again, it's not a bashing. It's not about wanting to bash the Jamaica Football Federation. It's, if anything, it's positive feedback, positive criticism. And I'm about to hit the 1 hour and 30 minutes, so I'm going to have to love you and leave you guys in a short while. I'm going to have to love and leave you guys in a short while. I think I've touched on all the comments there in the comment section. Let's see. The same matter in a way, so they misunderstood what you're saying. I think maybe they tuned into the live stream. Probably at some point where I probably would have said certain things. But yeah, that's a fair point. I was looking to slap us and see us having a tough time, but I will be cheering for the ladies and hope a result if we win 1-0. I would take a cheeky little 1-0. Right, guys, if you're on your way home, I do hope that you make it home safe and unharmed. If you're just coming onto my channel for the very first time, please do hit the subscribe button. Also, if you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? Do hit the like button. Thank you thank you to the guys there in the comment section for rocking with me for the best part of 1 hour and 30 minutes. Thank you for keeping my company. I will be seeing you guys again real soon. But for now, I do have to love and leave you. I have to figure out how I can get some much needed rest so it doesn't spill over into my days as it usually does. And you know how it goes. Until next time, take care.